Hello everybody, this is going to be a presentation on a compare and contrast essay. First, let's take a look at the title, which is a comparison of two websites on attention deficit disorder. Right away we will know that this is going to be a comparison or contrast essay because of the words used in the title. Also, we know what are they going to compare? Two websites. And what is the topic of those websites? Attention deficit disorder. Therefore, this title is very, very good. Let's take a look at the introduction. The author has given us general information about the two websites and then goes specifically into the thesis statement. I would consider this a funnel type of introductory paragraph, starting with the general and then narrowing to the more specific. If we take a look at the thesis statement itself, it states, as a comparison of the MIH and AdultADD.com website shows, one site is definitely a more reliable source of information than the other. Immediately I started to change this to a question. Well, how is the one site better than the other? What reasons is the author going to give me? If you take a look here, I have written comments. I wanted to say that this thesis statement is an open thesis statement because it doesn't list the specific reasons. It leaves it open to interpretation. Again, you know that I like to write with a closed thesis statement where I give each reason in the thesis statement. I like to do this because I think it helps the reader know what's going to come. Next, let's take a look at the first body paragraph. The topic sentence, the first difference between the two websites is the design of their home pages. The author goes on to explain, but what's good is the author also includes a visual, which is a very strong piece of evidence if it fits well in your paper. See Figure 1. Let's go there. The author uses a snapshot of the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder from the National Institute of Mental Health to show us how their website looks. It's great visual because then they're going to compare the ADD.com website. So we have a visual comparison of the two. After looking at that figure, we'll continue reading this paragraph, and then the author starts the next paragraph by giving the examples of how the AdultADD.com website looks. Notice that the author did not include both websites in one paragraph. The author may have done this because the information may be too much for one paragraph. You don't want a paragraph that is very long, or the author may have done this to give more specific information to each, to dedicate it so we have a better understanding of each. Again, I'm jumping around here. The author also gave another figure for us to look at. So let's go look at the figure of AdultADD.com, a picture of their website, or of its website, excuse me. Here is a picture or a snapshot of the second website that the author is comparing. To me, it doesn't look as good, as detailed. So this would make me start to question, well, which website is more reliable? Again, this is really good support because I haven't read the whole essay, yet I'm starting to lean toward the one website more than this website, the AdultADD.com website. Next, the author talks about the second point of comparing. They look at the end of the website, such as .gov, and then if we scroll down here, the other website ends in a .com, and then the author goes on to explain why he prefers the .gov over the .com ending of the web addresses. The third point is how much are they updated? He compares which one's more current. The NIMH website, they stay very current, and then the AdultADD.com website, they're not clear about it. They don't know how much they're updated. And I wanted to also point out that these two paragraphs, this one and this one, they're talking about the same thing. However, the author chose to split them into two. I may however, have put them together as one paragraph. But again, it's the author's style. Maybe the author wanted to separate them to focus more on one website versus the other. But here I think both could be possible. Combine it into one paragraph or separate it into two. It's your style choice. And then the conclusion. The first sentence of the conclusion says clear differences between. They're restating the title and they're restating the thesis, but in different words. We know that this was a contrasting essay. Let's keep going. And then the author lists for these reasons. He has given us a summary above here of the main points that the author has talked about. And then they go on and summarize it. They did a good job here. They summarized the whole paragraph using different words than which were in the introduction. The last thing I wanted to point out here was I have the comment. This essay was written with a point-by-point emphasis. This means that the author chose to compare each point and talk about each point by comparing both websites. The author did not talk about one website in the beginning of the essay and then talk about the second website at the end of the essay. The author decided to intermingle them and talk about them each point by point. Again, I will have the copy of this PDF file on the website. If you go ahead and look at it on the website, you can toggle over my comments and read those to help you. Remember, use Firefox or Internet Explorer because Chrome does not work well when reading comments. Okay everyone, I hope this helped. If you have any questions, please email me. Talk to you later. Bye.